So this is our garden tour for May 19th. On this row we've got cucamelons, lots of weeds right there in the center that we just haven't gotten out yet. We just pulled up some of our broccoli, and we've got onions through here. We're gonna come through here and weed really good before we plant whatever is gonna go there next. We've got some garlic and turmeric here. They've still probably got a good month or two until we even start seeing sprouts. Some of our overflow potatoes are here. This is a red variety. I believe you can kind of tell in the leaves a little bit. And then these are the fingerling potatoes. So once they get a tiny bit bigger, like this one's probably ready, we will start hilling those up some. Under here we've got the last little bit of our cool crops. We're hoping they'll kind of get big enough to be able to harvest. So we've got cabbage on either side, and then Brussels sprouts in the middle. These did get a little bit of a late start, so it's kind of a gamble as to whether we'll see anything or not. Worst comes to worst, we could always eat the leaves or give them to the animals. We do put them under this netting, and that's just because we get cabbage worms pretty bad. Let's see. Have some overflow carrots. They were from October, I believe, maybe November. That just didn't seem to germinate last fall, and then I think when it got warm they came back up. So a couple of them are getting pretty big, especially since they have the shade of some of the other plants. And then this is some of our Romanesco broccoli that we're just waiting to head up. We've got regular cucumbers here, just getting big enough to where they'll start being trained on the trellis soon. Actually, we've got our first little cucamelon flower right there. It's pretty exciting. They're already attaching, so they'll be taking off pretty soon. This is our row of garlic that we put in, I believe, last November, and just a couple of things planted in between. Some last runs of kale, which I think it just got too warm early in the spring and then cooled down, and you know, Virginia weather is just all over the place, so they're just a little bit stunted. Again, we may or may not get anything out of them, but worst comes to worst, you know, we can give them to the chickens or just have like a little mix in with our salads or something like that. We do have some onions in between, so like this is garlic on this side, and then these are onions. We do have a mix of hardneck garlic and softneck. Last year we just did softneck, and we liked it a lot, and it kept really well, but we wanted to try a couple things of the hardneck garlic, really because we wanted to try the scapes that are supposed to come off of them, but it is May. We haven't quite seen those come up yet, but I think we just have to wait a little longer. We've got some lime basil that is going to flower. A little thing of the tennis ball lettuce, which has stayed pretty small, which I get, you know, tennis ball lettuce stays small, but it hasn't done a whole lot of growing, I don't feel like, since we put it in the ground. And then this is the last little bit of the broccoli that we have. So this is all purple broccoli. Again, we're just waiting for it to head up. These are a couple of raspberry plants that we got from a friend. We are actually looking to move next year. So we just kind of wanted to give them a space where they could grow and stay healthy, but we would be able to kind of pick them up and go once we move. And our green beans are starting. I need to get that out, but first I need to cut off the electric fence. We have pretty bad deer in our area. So I know last fall I planted green beans, and just as they were getting to about that size, a deer came in one night and just ate the entire bed, which was very upsetting. So we've got this netting up just to prevent them from coming over here and eating them while they're small. I think that once the plants get bigger, we won't really have to deal with that but so much. So this is our green bean bed, and right as all the seeds were coming up, we actually got a pretty bad hailstorm. And some of the places, you can kind of see where the water went, but some of the places kind of flooded throughout this particular bed. So we'll probably see which ones jump up and start taking off. You can kind of tell there at the end where we were that some of those are coming up really, really well, but we might just go through here. Sorry about the train in the background. We might just go through here and just kind of plant, succession planting. It just won't be in pretty rows. It'll be, just mixed throughout. These are our tomatoes. They are getting to the point where some of them are starting to touch the trellis. So we've got quite a few. These are all paste tomatoes. And then I believe starting here down, we have heirloom slicers. And some of them are getting really big. And hopefully within, I would say maybe like a week or so, they'll be able to start attaching, well, not attaching themselves to the trellis, but we'll be able to start attaching them to the trellis. Got some overflow peppers here that just need to find a home once we plant everything that we need to go in. This is kind of a mix down this row. We've got some nasturtium, and then basically all the peppers that are in this row are drying peppers. So those are like cayenne peppers, the Thai chilies, anything that we can grow and dry and then grind down into a spice is grown in this row. And they went in actually before all of the other peppers did. We just wanted to give them a little bit more time, which was a little not great. I mean, nothing we could have avoided, but the weather here in Virginia has been so up and down that we actually got a late season freeze. And so we had to kind of come out here and be really creative with covering them up. We do have a few flowers through here, some calendula. Not 100% sure on what this is. My nephew, I believe, picked this out while we were at the nursery. And then, like I said, some of the Thai chili peppers, another calendula, some more peppers, another nasturtium, which these are really beautiful. This is our first year of growing these, and they have just like taken off. But it's this edible flower that's like a little spicy, a little sweet. We have tried one of the flowers. I thought it was pretty sweet, but the leaves, like the petals themselves, are kind of almost like a radish. So they're really good on salads. And apparently the leaves are edible too. We haven't tried those yet though. And then this whole row, I'll try to grab as much as I can. So these are all hot peppers. We love spicy food, like love spicy food. And this is our first year with this big of a garden. So we decided we wanted to try a lot of varieties. Basically each row is a different type. Granted, we will not be seed saving from any of these because they're so close, they're all going to cross-pollinate with each other, which isn't a big deal for the actual fruit and the peppers that they'll put off this year, but we wouldn't be able to save those seeds and plant them again next year because they're all mixing together. But we've got a good mix of like spicy peppers that we'll be able to pickle or use in a salsa or something like that, as well as some that we do want to try making some like fermented hot sauce with. So one that I'm really excited about that we had extras of are actually these two big ones right here. Those are the Sugar Rush peach peppers, and I'm hoping that we can make a pretty cool hot sauce out of those. We've got another nasturtium there. These are some sweet peppers. In this space here, the tomatillos will go out. They're actually right over there. We need to put a trellis up and then we'll be able to put those in. So tomatillos will go here. We have a group of sweet peppers here. I believe those are the Murasaki peppers. And then continuing along the row are cherry tomatoes, and we had a little bit of extra room, so we just threw in a couple more paste tomatoes, so that way we would be able to store those really easily. Some more sweet peppers, so those are sweet banana peppers. Another nasturtium. If you can't tell, we had a lot of those, and they're along with being edible, they attract a lot of pollinators and they're a good companion plant. And these are shishito peppers. These are probably our favorite sweet pepper that we grow. They're very delicious. Not a lot of people have heard of them, but we just like fry them just so that they're blistered, and then toss them with like some lemon juice and salt, and they're delicious. We have a few dry beans that are here. These are the just regular like black beans. So they got planted really early again, and they'll basically grow up. All the beans will come out, and then we'll leave them until they're dry, and then be able to pop the beans, just the black beans, out. So we're gonna go on the other side of this fence. A lot of people wonder, because we do meat chickens, we do have a little meat chicken tractor. There's a mix in there right now. We've got a couple that weren't quite big enough the last time that we did them, as well as some of our grow out egg layers that we got this year are in there, and we're able to move it around, so they're always having new grass to be on and eat on. We've got a couple more things that we just need to plug out. A lot of those are like winter squashes, zucchinis, some more basil, because the first round of basil that I did has already started to go to seed. It's just been too long. Here, so we've got right down the middle 3 zucchinis, and then some peppers, which I believe they're sweet peppers kind of intermixed with them. And then we'll have some stuff go in the end. We haven't really decided what will be going down there quite yet, but we've got plenty of enough we'll be able to fill it up. We do have some peanuts, which we're trying. So these first 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we just kind of zigzagged them through so that way they would have more room, are there. We started growing these last year, and we didn't do a very good job on keeping up with them, but it's really cool. So the way they grow is they grow up, and then they will flower, and then the flowers will actually dig themselves back down into the ground, and when they're done developing, you pull up the peanuts from underground, and that's how they're grown. We had no idea that they grew like that, but I thought that was really cool. So we have pretty sandy soil here, so sometimes when it rains, like it's been raining for the past 3 days, the soil does get a little bit compacted. So we'll just kind of have to keep an eye on when they start flowering, just to make sure that the soil is loose enough for it to dig itself back underground, basically. So we'll just kind of have to keep an eye on that. And these are okra starts. So it's just a green, your typical okra there. And those will get really big. And the reason that we put these here, so these can grow up almost like trees. So to be like 5-6 feet tall. And the reason that we put them here, even though it's in the middle of a garden bed, is because we figure the sun goes up and over this way. And we figure once the sun hits midday that it will start to cast a shadow back. And this is where we have some peas, and peas like it a little bit colder. So we figure once they grow up that they will actually start to cast a little bit of a shadow on this particular area of the garden, and hopefully we'll be able to get lots of peas from here. These are a bush variety of peas, so they don't have to be trellised before they go to seed. We threw in a couple more peas here. It was kind of just a last ditch, like see if we can grow something before it gets too hot for them, because on the other side we have our very last loofah start, because of all of the late freezes and hailstorms and everything crazy that has happened with our weather this spring. I started about 6 loofah starts and now am down to 1. So once this little guy grows up and once he is able to attach to the trellis, that one start can go up and over this trellis. So we figured we will put something short on the other side, so that way once the loofah is bigger later in the season, it won't choke out something that's important on the other side. We do have some lemongrass. A lot of this area through here isn't planted yet, so the grass is trying to start growing back into it, which is fine. We'll till it up or do something with it before we plant something. We'll probably have melons going through here once it gets a little bit later in the summer. But we do have a little bit of lemongrass and lavender like just along this edge here. Again, trying to help with keeping deer away because we're right here on the edge of our property. So it's just on the outside edge. Here we have some pole beans. So again, they'll go up and over the trellis. On the other side, we've got some climbing peas. So there's little snow peas. So they'll grow up and over until it gets too warm. And once it gets too warm, we'll just do another round of pole beans on the other side, because pole beans just grow really quickly. So we'll be able to use that side again. Again, here we have more drying beans. So I believe these are like a Great Northern white bean. A couple of sunflowers. Here's one here and here, throughout this area. So they'll grow up, and this is like the very corner of it. And again, the sun goes up and over this way, so they won't cast too much shade onto anything else. And then these are the other parts of our potatoes, which are just starting to come up. They're just starting to break through the ground. So this again is a red variety, and then the green variety again is just breaking the ground. There is one like right up there. So, and once they start popping up out of the ground and you can see a little bit of like what you would call a stem, you just cover that up, and then that way we won't have to like dig down into the ground to get the potatoes. And that's pretty much it. This is just a little record keeping for us, so that way we can see how quickly things grow from year to year. We do have some stuff we need to clean up along the outsides, but we're just out here working like every weekend, trying to put more and more in, because we're trying to get it all in so that it will have time throughout the season to grow. But that is pretty much it. We've got a lot of space luckily this year, and I'm excited to keep a record of how everything is going.